Welcome to the Greenfield School Committee Subcommittee meeting of the School Committee Handbook. It is the 9th of February, 2024 at 6:10 p.m. Let's do a roll call to see who's all here. Elizabeth Deneve, I'm here. Vice Chair Martini?
Here.
Member Sexton?
Here.
We are all present and we have a quorum. And there's currently no member of the public waiting to speak. So let's begin. I put a little agenda together, and honestly, I thought it would be easy to just start our brainstorming with an outline of the handbook. I think that Member Sexton, you had mentioned that we could work on it asynchronously, which makes sense. But it would be really lovely if by the end of this meeting, we have just an outline that we can bring to the large meeting next week so that we can invite the other members to email in what they would like to see in the handbook. Because I think that there's a lot of things to add to it. And I'm sure that we're going to miss things as we go. And we'll probably need a few meetings where we're just brainstorming, filling in the blanks and what knowledge that we have. So how do you all feel about that?
That sounds good.
Okay, so let's do a motion to create a timeline.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. Oh, it seems silly to have such a formal meeting just for these things, but that passes. So let's create a timeline. Let's start with discussing. Anyone have any immediate thoughts to share?
It feels to me like it's going to be easier to create the headers than it is some of the actual mechanism behind the headers. And I feel like we need to need two different timelines, one sort of completion of a discrete product, and then one sort of an ongoing commitment to creating the machinery behind all of the elements of our handbook so that we actually can enact the handbook. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
So let's try to create some headings tonight then. What do you think, Kate? Does that resonate with you?
That sounds great. When you say timeline, do you want to set a goal date by which a handbook will be completed and then work backwards from that?
I was thinking about that. Do you guys think that June is a wild idea? Because I can imagine that looking at what we already have on the website, there's a lot of pieces that are already sort of in place, but there are probably some social and cultural things that we'd like to add that are specific to us. And that's the stuff that I think might take a while to get everyone's input and have it approved. So I was thinking that June might be attainable, but do you think that that seems far away or too soon?
For me, that feels too soon.
Okay.
Just because when I also think about the other things that I have in my life going on, just like my personal ability to do the work of it, you know? But I was also considering how much of this is even a public process, being that we are elected officials and people have elected us, and maybe they might have some input on our list of things, what they would like to see in a handbook that would that they would want to like have there, or if they had specific maybe contributions to a code of conduct in particular, that element that we were thinking about, you know.
So it's February now. So if we brought an outline to the full committee in February at the big meeting, And then everyone gets back to us by March. Let's say, I'm just sort of brainstorming. Because this could also be done in a working session as a group. We don't necessarily have to. Well, I guess it's set up as a subcommittee, but we could do this in a working session. So if people get back to us by March, and then we have, say, some headers and fill-in place by April, which would mean we'd have another meeting in April, let's say. Then we would bring what we have to the full committee in May. And we'll probably have to have, how many readings do you think we'd have to have, Kate? At least 2, right?
I think, I don't know in terms of readings how much this should align with something like policy adoption, because it's not a policy per se, it's a handbook.
Right.
So I'm not sure about the number of readings. I am thinking that I'm going to feel probably pretty occupied between now and March because of the budget season. So my preference would be not to meet in March on this. So could we push that timeline back one month?
Okay, yes. All right, tell me if this sounds right to you all, because I wasn't sure if everyone was in the mood to just bang this out or if we need a lot of time. So I'm guessing based on how busy everyone is, time is needed. So tell me if this sounds right to you. We create our outline, our general outline tonight, bring it to the full meeting next week. Have everybody take time to get back to us by March. Have a meeting then together again in April.
Yeah, early April would be good.
Yeah. And then give the committee, bring whatever we come up with in April at our April meeting to the full committee. And then people will have more time to weigh in. And then the goal would be to then have a meeting together in June. So we'd have a meeting every other month. And then in June, we can see where we're at and whether we think we're close or if we're going to just finish it in the fall. What do you think of that?
I think it seems to me like a good idea to aim to get a handbook in place and aim for a final vote on that in July or August, preferably August, because the committee doesn't have that much to do at that point in the year usually. And we will have finished with the budget season at that point in time, having on our side and then going over to the city and then back to our side. So I think that's the timeline that my preference would be to aim for.
Okay, that's a really good point. We do not have a lot to do in the summer, so that would be kind of maybe the ideal time.
Maybe people would have more time to focus
Mhm.
on this and give it energy at that point.
What do you think, Stacy? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that was sort of aligned with where I was thinking as well, because June was feeling a little tight.
Wonderful. It's like we already completed step 1.
Yay.
Yay.
Timeline. And I also think in terms of a timeline, it doesn't need to be too fraught or pressured, because a handbook is something that can be amended and changed when it needs to be. So I think really the aim is to get one in place
Okay. Did any of you have a chance to look at the samples that Glenn shared with us? There were quite a few of them, and I really, to be honest with you, I didn't get a chance to read through all of them because they're quite thick.
Yeah.
A lot
Actually,
of them had things in common, and I was wondering what thoughts you had about them and what you thought might be good to pull from them or not pull from them.
Kate, it looked like you had something to say earlier.
I was just going to answer the question. I've been through 2.5 of them, and there are 7. So that is where I am.
I have skimmed the table of contents of all 7 of them, but have not gone deeply in any. Yeah. But I did notice that there were some elements that I was like curious about because I was like, could we have one of those, you know? And it could be good for us to maybe like scroll through them together right now and just pick out some elements that we like.
Okay, we could do that. I have them all prepared. So let me see if I can. Is there a particular one that you want to look at?
No.
No. Okay, so just any. All right, let's see if I can. Let's go to Belchertown. Let's see. Can you all see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And I have it pulled up.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can move the windows over so I can see it a little bit more. That's okay. I'm trackpadding it tonight. Okay, here we go. All right. So, hold on. Hold on 1 second, you guys.
I think in Belchertown, I'm kind of interested in this being an effective committee member section. It's on page 7. I'm just looking at the table of contents.
Hold on. I'm going to change this around. I don't know if I that's better because I couldn't see the pages. So you were saying, oh, you were saying it was on 7?
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at page 7 more closely, I think this whole kind of section where it spells out our professional development plan, the opportunities for being a representative to the broader like state community, you know, where it sort of spells out not only the duties but the opportunities and like helps you align. Do we know if like Mass Down a Hill, that's already on our calendar, right?
It is, and Jason Frazier is prepared to come and teach us how to make that happen.
Sweet.
So that's all sort of in the works. Okay, so I'm taking some notes off to the side, and headers we like is professional development. And what else did you like? That was, we liked the Belchertown one. That you liked? Representative opportunities.
Yeah, basically all of what's on page 7. And I think there's like the what we like and what like, you know, and what we absolutely must have.
Yes.
You know, sort of what are the core headers that we think we need, and then what are the other headers maybe.
Well, I think we have a lot of things already in place on the website. For example, like new member materials, all of that is sort of in place. It's just not in a handbook format. But we haven't, so we'd have to take all of that and add it to the handbook we're creating and take it out of that just website format and make it part of the handbook. But so that part is pretty easy. And I know that they have the representative opportunities in that. but it's sort of in our policy manual. So there are things to take out of the policy manual and put in the handbook so they exist in both places, I think. But I'm kind of also really interested in what we might want for us, particularly our vision and desire. See, we have all of these on our website in our policy manual. In essence, this is their policy manual. I mean, is there anything, I'm not scrolling too fast, but through the 19 pages, but is there anything that jumps out as a header that we're like, ooh, meeting law, we got that.
Maybe how to respond to constituent complaints.
Oh yeah, that one was down at the end, right? There's communicate. They all had those.
Page 17.
Page 17. Let's just go to page 17 then. How to respond to constituent complaints. Yeah, we don't have anything like that, I think.
I also feel like the acronyms one is actually really nice for the public to have and for us to have, of like, you know, what these are all of the terms that you might hear come up.
Page 7, page 17, we are interested in. And acronyms.
Yeah.
Breakdown.
And if we could just like borrow from the list that Belchertown already has and then add the ones that we also find relevant to our context. You know?
I love this useful resources. I don't think we have anything like that.
I mean, I'm sure we do, like in different scattered places, but not pulled together. Like
not pulled together, which is kind of the main problem that we seem to have. Oh, look, they have an acronyms page. I didn't even see that. Was that what you were referencing in general, or had you seen this?
No, that's what I was referencing, yes.
Okay. All right. You guys want to go on to another one?
Okay.
Let's see if I got another one.
Did you have other thoughts about that one, Kate?
No, I think it's nicely organized. In terms of the operating protocols, I think that's an important piece that needs to be included, but our protocols may not be their protocols. So I think that section needs to be there, but it needs to be gone over explicitly.
Okay. Please just jump in, Kate, if you want to add something, because this isn't just, it feels weird to have this be like a really formal sort of thing, because it really is kind of more of a brainstorming session. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I would like, how's this for a suggestion? That we identify important pieces or sections that need to be included, and then we will have a motion to schedule a working session to flesh them out. Because I agree with you that having a working session seems more appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. So do we want to go through the Berlin, Connecticut one? Do we have, has anyone looked at that, or?
Just before we move away from Belchertown,
yeah.
I think each of these sections in the table of contents makes sense to me to include in a handbook. But like I was saying, some of them we need to be we need to go over them for our own purposes. For example, the school committee evaluation piece. I think it's important and it should be there, but in my view, the section that's in this handbook is not adequate because it says basically what we are doing, which is that the committee will evaluate itself, but it doesn't say what we'll do with that. And that seems to be something that our committee has been missing, that we've talked about that as a committee, needing to take that information and use it. So I like the whole table of contents. I just think that we need to be nitty gritty about hashing out things like that.
I agree. We do have sort of a routine where we'll pass things or decide to do something, but then we don't follow up.
Mm.
And so having follow-up guidelines for these things, actions that we have to take once we complete them, would be good things to write in to the handbook.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm done with that one. No.
Yeah, we could let's scroll down and just see if we see anything. Board goals. Okay, yeah, these are all core values. I'm
In
just
terms
looking
of,
for headings.
it doesn't make sense to me to include board goals in a handbook because I think the committee should be setting goals every year.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think it would be great to include a piece in the handbook about the setting of goals by the committee and when and how that is done. But I don't think it makes sense to put what they are this year in there because then you're going to need to be updating your handbook every time. So,
Okay, when and how we set goals. So we have all this stuff. We have all this resignation. Oh man, trackpad living, man. I hate trackpad living. Exit interviews. See, like we don't have stuff like that because we've asked about that before in the past and it hasn't, like, you know.
Am I the only one that's still seeing just the file structure and not the document itself
I'm seeing the
on the
document.
screen?
yeah, I see the document. Maybe close it and open it again when in doubt.
Yeah, okay, let me do that. Hold on.
Fascinating.
Hold on a second.
Thank you.
Let me go back. Yeah, of course. All right. Here I go. I'm gonna open the Berlin, Connecticut handbook. Do you see it?
Yes, now I do.
Okay, we're
Thank you
looking
very
at
much.
conflict of interest. All of that, I think, like we have that. We have a lot of things. Oh man, come on, man. The data not have batteries in my mouse. Okay.
Certain things like conflict of interest law, open meeting law, I do not think those things need to be spelled out in detail in the handbook. Those are things that we are required to do training on anyway, and that have their own volume of information on them. So I think it suffices to
All right. Board member professional
say
development.
something succinct about that.
Board officers, we already have that. Policies. Tell me if you want me to stop. Board hearings, search selection, appointment. Process. Superintendent evaluation. A lot of these are really the same, just with varying depth.
I like this board members visiting schools that they have.
Yeah.
That little paragraph.
Okay. And you like the one from Berlin, Connecticut, that's page 13. Okay.
What I don't like about this one is that there is not a table of contents. It's just sort of a list of different topics.
So we want a table of contents.
And I think that it should be linked, like a clickable to for access, I think it should be a fully accessible document. And that includes putting links to each individual section. Although I think Kate could probably speak more to that, perhaps. Sorry, I feel like I've been interrupting you all night. I apologize.
You're
I
not
feel the same, Kate. I'm so sorry.
saying nothing. No, I feel the same way. I interrupted you at least once already, Stacey.
We're all feeling the same. Great. I mean, this is all the same kind of stuff. Board quorum. So what I have down so far, just to kind of reconnect, because I don't want us to go past our time, handbook. We want to start with the preamble, mission, and table of contents. And we definitely want to have useful resources and acronyms breakdown, operating protocols, when and how we set goals. And then there's various pages that we like from different ones that I wrote down. But in terms of having like a framework, Kate, you mentioned not wanting it to be a list.
Yeah, I want that table of contents so I can say, oh, I have a question about, I'm a new member and I want to know, how do I get an item on the agenda? Then I need to know what page are operating protocols on instead of just I'm scrolling through a 23-page document looking for this thing. So
what do you think about maybe, how about if next week we just have a table of contents prepared? And it doesn't necessarily have to be completely fleshed out. We could be unsure of certain things because I'm sure that different members will have ideas that they want to impart. But what if I created a Google Doc with a table of contents and sort of roughly based on what we talk about here tonight, and then we can all work on it independently together and then submit that as a beginning. Does that seem like a beginning framework? What do you guys think?
say that again. I'm sorry.
Well, because I was thinking
Slightly
about
glazed over at this point.
okay.
Because it's 6 o'clock on a Friday and I had a long day.
No, I totally understand. I don't want us to like go past 7 or anything like that.
Right.
So in terms of when I was thinking of the agenda and having a framework to submit to the committee, maybe that framework is just the table of contents. And maybe we don't know the full table of contents, but we could start creating one. And we could just start a Google Doc and work sort of independently on it and try to fill it in with the idea of this being the basic table of contents and then see what everybody thinks. Does that seem like the appropriate framework that we might be searching for, since we all would like a table of contents? Is that where we start?
I like the table of contents. I'm not sure that I want to have it verbatim from any one of these. Can we schedule a working session and define it for the purposes of identifying that table of contents and the operating protocols section? It seems like
okay, hold on, let me write this down. So schedule a working session to create table of contents and operating procedure. In addition to this, before we bring anything to the full committee? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would just mean that we'd be sort of moving the timeline by a month or so. And we're all okay with that?
I'm okay with it, but I respect it if you would rather bring it to next week's meeting. That being said, I think, let me just check. I think the agenda is already set for next week.
Oh, it is.
We just received an email
Oh,
about
I have not checked my email.
agenda and materials for a 214 school committee meeting.
Oh my, okay. I'm used to them happening on Monday.
Usually, they have been closer, and I appreciate having them a bit more in advance. And I think technically it can be changed up until the 48 hours before the meeting, but then again, it's not exactly
Oh,
preferable to do that if you don't need to.
it's not mission critical or anything. It's not that important. Oh, I see. I got my email too. I just hadn't even checked it. So then what we'll do is we'll just as the report portion, we'll just talk about our intent then to have a working session to create the table of contents and the operational protocols.
Can we schedule it right now?
Let's do that. That's perfect. Let us schedule it now.
Okay. I'm gonna run away for one moment and grab my planner. I'll be right back.
Okay, perfect.
I appreciate that I'm not the only one who has a physical planner to run and go get.
All right, I have mine open. I almost wonder if this would be a good type of meeting to have in person. Might be easier. You know, if you all are amenable to doing a working session in person, it just might be easier with all these documents.
I feel like we are definitely going to want to do some kind of comparative across the ones and find out what they have in common and what's unique and what we like and don't like, and like have maybe come with a little bit more knowledge of what we've drawn from each of them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, Connecticut has a acronym page.
I'm
And
sure there are very common features that we just had that are going to be standard across.
Yep. All right, we'll see if I'm going to stop this Connecticut one and see if we want to look at another one or not. Or do you have your planner, Kate?
I do.
Okay. I can say for me, I'm pretty much wide open after March 18th.
Okay. I am available that week, generally speaking, except for Friday morning.
I will likely be headed to Portland,
Ooh, Maine or Oregon?
Oregon.
Oh, have a fabulous time. Oh my gosh. Will you be gone those whole 2 weeks?
No, not for the whole 2 weeks, from March 20th to the 23rd.
Okay. So how about the week of March 25th? Could we schedule something then? And would you all like to do something in person and make it an in-person working session? We'd only have to record audio. Do you think that would be easier for this task, or do you prefer virtual?
I would find it easier.
That's what I,
All right, so in person sometime in the week of March 25th.
Yeah.
Would you all like to do an evening time?
I think I need to do an evening time.
Okay. How about Friday, March 29th at 6 p.m.?
Okay.
Sure. Can we put a time limit on it just to make sure that we're not letting ourselves spend hours and hours?
Yes, let's do that. How about
8.
6 to 8? Okay. And I'll let Lauren know and get it going. So let me just write this down. In person. Where would you all like to meet? Should we try something at the new library or at a home? Or central office will be closed, so we
Do
could
our
there.
working sessions need to be open to the public, or do they just need to be recorded?
I think that they just need to be recorded. I mean, they need to be posted. But that's a question that we should double check. The answer we should double check. But I don't think that they need, well, I mean, the public would know, so the public could come. So yeah, maybe we should try the new library and I could get an answer to those questions.
Okay.
So let me put that on my notes.
We might need to see if there's a fee to use the new room.
The library closes at 5 p.m. on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
That also.
We
Okay.
could do Wednesday because Wednesday they are open until 8 o'clock. You want to do Wednesday 6 to 8? Or Friday?
I could do Wednesday.
I can do Wednesday too.
Okay, so that's Wednesday, March 27th
6 to
from
8,
6 to
March
8
27th
at the library.
at the library. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Lauren if we can do that and how to do that. And great, we'll be guinea pigs for new library meetings. And we'll meet in person Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m., March 27th, hopefully at the library.
Does this need to be a motion? Because this is a
Yes, let's make a motion.
I think, I don't know, but it seems like it probably does. Because
I
the meeting.
actually don't know if it has to be a motion to do a meeting schedule, but because I don't think we do that in policy. Well, let's do it anyways. Could I have a motion for well, I'll make the motion that we meet on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m., March 27th at the library. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Friendly amendment.
Yes.
Meeting is scheduled as a working session pending subcommittee chair Genevieve verifying the procedures for doing that and availability of space at the library.
All right. I accept your friendly amendment. Although technically it just is. So great.
Aye.
All right. So I think we've poked the bear a little bit on this large project that we shouldn't let get too large and should try to complete sometime this year.
Do you
And
I know you talked about asking members to put forward their ideas. Do you want to ask for members to email suggestions for items in contents and for operating procedures or protocols
I
between
do,
meeting.
but I'd love to have something sort of set up first.
Okay.
I don't want to quite open the floodgates yet until we have a place to put all of it. Does that make sense? Because some of it is already done and in our policy manuals, and we just need to go through it and take it all out, and then we'll see what spots we're missing. Do you know what I mean? I don't think we know what we're missing yet,
You are right. Yes.
what we need to develop. But yes, like let's get as much input from everyone as possible, and we'll probably have to delve into some institutional knowledge that members who have been here longer have, because there are certainly things that we don't know about that have just been how they are because one person remembers it. So that might need to be written down.
We could try to interview past members.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I was thinking of asking members of other committees who participated in the creation of a handbook. How did you go
Also
about
a good idea.
That's a great idea. Okay, so I think our homework is to, when we have the bandwidth, maybe read through these handbooks more thoroughly, or at least get scrolling through them and picking out the things that we have interest in. And then creating the table of contents and the protocols at our working session, and then figuring out what we don't know and what we might need to know, and then getting the members involved. Does that seem like a roadmap that we've agreed to?
I think so.
Okay. All right. While we have a few more minutes, do either of you want to scroll through any of the other handbooks together, or should we just call it a night since we've kind of got a little bit of an idea? What do you think?
I'm open to either.
You're open to either?
Mhm.
We look through another one. What do you think, Kate?
we can take a quick peruse through and see if there is anything else that seems important or jumps out at you.
Okay, so we looked at Belchertown, Berlin. Let's see what Framingham says. Nope. Here's their table of contents. I love this. What happens when things go wrong? And school committee partnerships. I wonder what that's about. Organization. The clerk. They have a clerk, not a secretary. Here's all their subcommittees. That's very interesting. Bilingual Parent Advisory Council Liaison. Academic Data Dashboard.
I was curious about that.
A lot of communication. Characteristics of high-performing school committees. Okay, introduction. Statement, overarching goals, guiding goals.
I seem to have lost whatever you are.
But do you not see? Do you not see it? Am I scrolling too fast?
I just see the the folder.
Oh my goodness. Okay, do you see it, Stacy?
No, I also only see the folder, but
Oh my
because
goodness.
last time I was the only one to see the folder, I didn't think anything of it because I had it pulled up on another screen.
Okay, hold on.
I'm pulling it up on my own. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
let me try again.
Zoom.
Let me try again. All right. Tell me if you see it.
I'm opening this in a different window for myself, so you don't need to do that for me.
Can you see it, Stacy?
Yes,
Okay. Would you like me to go back up to page 1?
I also have it open, so I'm mostly referring to that.
Okay, so if we all meet on page 5 after some scrolling time.
I am on page 5. Scope of authority. Is that where you're looking?
Yeah. So it all seems pretty much the same. It has all of the Robert's rules and the agendas and the protocols. The school committee partnership section on page 7 isn't what I thought it would be. I kind of thought that the partnership would be about interacting with different community members, but it's about we'll work collegially and collaboratively with everyone.
I mean, we can borrow the header and then make it what we think reflects our community's desire in terms of partnering with schools.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna write it down because there's so much here, as we know. If I don't write it down, I'm gonna lose whatever little tidbits we all pull out. If anybody else sees anything. What happens when things go wrong isn't as interesting as I thought it would be either.
But I wonder if the policies that it references are, sorry, Kate.
No, you're on the right track there, Stacy, with the policies. I mean, they are what the committee should go back to when there is a question. So.
Remember orientation, we also have that. I'm scrolling down, I'm on page 7.
I think they're all pretty similar. I'm not seeing anything like massively different about any of these.
They have almost the same one as Belchertown. It almost looks like they copied it.
I'm sure there's a template available or a few templates available out there for us, that we could adopt. But I do think that it is worth, I think, to one of Kate's earlier points, it's worth us taking a little bit of extra time to make sure it accurately reflects our circumstance and what our people would like.
On page 11, there's something interesting. They've included a sample budget calendar. And it has a budget workshop and presentations. And it's kind of nice to see it in a form like this. And I know that this is something that people ask all of the time. I really like that. All right, I'm writing that down too. Page Framingham, page 11. That one I haven't seen in any of the other handbooks. Moving along.
I have seen budget calendars from other school committees, but not in a handbook. And it's nice to have a sample.
Especially because when you're new, well, even when you've been there for a little while, like I often forget what the timeline is and what I have to keep in mind as it goes. It's a lot. They have They have their superintendent evaluation. I'm scrolling down to page 13. They have their negotiations. They reference their policy manual. They also have self-evaluation. It's almost exactly like Belchertown.
Yeah, didn't Belchertown say it was based on Framingham?
Oh, did it?
I think it did. I could be wrong. I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead, just being
Do it.
mindful of time.
Yeah, we should get on going.
Sandwich has a section specifically about MASC. And
Okay.
personally, I think that would be helpful because as a new member, I had no information about how MASC operates and how how the committee ought to be participating in it. And I think it would be helpful to have a section explaining the basics of that.
What page is that in the Sandwich Handbook?
18.
18. All right, I'm writing it down. There's also a page 11 on Framingham that has an academic dashboard showing test results and how we measure success and such as.
Are you sure it's Framingham 11?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Maybe I wrote it wrong. 17, 16, 15, 14.
I think we might receive a fair amount of community pushback around grades as being the only academic indicator.
Right.
And I think there are other measures of success that we might also consider.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's page 16. Thank you.
Thank you. Here we go, academic data dashboard. Okay.
So many times, I'm like, I'm just checking. I love you. I love you. People make good choices.
Well, they have members on an academic data dashboard. I wonder if that's similar to our curriculum subcommittee that we're going to have. What is that called again? I'm sorry.
Well, to be clear, that is not something that's been decided on by the
Oh,
committee.
okay. Okay.
Or even brought up as a motion. So
Oh.
I don't know.
All right.
But
I'm just scrolling through, finishing up Framingham. I hope that's okay. They have a sample agenda format.
Sorry, Elizabeth, I'm still on this academic data dashboard thing. It sounds very interesting, but I've never heard of it before. And so
I would want to see it. I bet if we asked them nicely, they would give us a virtual tour.
well, it's weird because it says currently the academic data dashboard is comprised of 3 members.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a subcommittee.
That's what I was thinking.
A subcommittee with an unusual name, which I am totally fine with, but I would need to understand what does that mean. Exactly.
On page 20 in the Framingham, they have a sample agenda format. And then they have a whole description of the types of meetings that they have on page 21. I'm sure we have pieces of this in all kinds of other places, but as a new member, it would have been really helpful to me to see that and to have that list of different types of meetings to sort of familiarize myself with what I was getting into. Because I think essentially what we're doing here is trying to make everything better for the people that come after us.
Right.
We're sort of leaving this campsite in a better state than we found it. So these are the kind of operational procedures I think that Glenn was hoping we'd pull
Yes.
out. So I'm going to write that down too. I'm sorry, I did not expect 7 handbooks from MASC. But it's a lot. So I'm just scrolling down, finishing up here.
I appreciate that Randolph's includes an organizational chart of the district.
Oh. And that's Randolph.
Yeah. Page 17.
Randolph, page 17. Okay. Okay.
And also on the same page have a piece, well, they also have a section about types of meetings, and they specifically address workshop meetings on the same page 17.
Okay. All right. Well, it is 7 p.m. and we've scrolled through 3 handbooks and have a sort of rough idea of how we're going to start this work. What do you all think? Do you have anything else to add or thoughts that have come up?
I think you can even say we scrolled through 7 handbooks because I went through so got a lot done in an hour. How about that?
Well,
Yeah.
you know, we got to respect our time at these unpaid volunteer jobs. So,
All right. Well, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yep, and we have a clear next step
Mhm.
for what
Yep.
we're doing. So
wonderful. All right, I will type up all of these notes. Maybe not so much as minutes, but as a record of what we're doing and where we are going. And I'll make a document and add everybody to that, and we can have a place to add some additional thoughts. And I'll liaison with Lauren and make sure that we have our working session scheduled, and we'll just go from there.
Okay.
excellent.
So a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Second.
All right.
Aye.
So the meeting is adjourned then at 7 o'clock exactly. And I will see you all on Wednesday.